Hey, I want to show you some cool ways that you can help your kiddos build their math skills, especially over the summer, but anytime really, by playing some pretty simple games with them. Now, depending on the age they are, is how complicated you might want to make it, and also how much you may have to be involved in the game versus being able to convince them to kind of play by themselves or with siblings. And this can really be adapted to all sorts of math skills. So I'm going to start by showing some addition skills. And the reasoning behind this is I really feel like my own skills in mental math came from just almost obsessively doing math problems in my head a lot, and being intrigued by the patterns that happen when you add a certain number and things like that. And so this is kind of a way, since I imagine most people don't obsessively add numbers in their head from a young age, this is a way to get that practice in to hopefully help solidify things. It's all about taking the things that maybe are in short-term memory during the school year so that you can show that you understand it, and getting it into the more long-term. So I've got two sets of cards here. One is a normal deck of cards and one is an Uno deck, and I think they each have their pros and cons. Both of these I have already taken out the face cards in the case of the regular playing cards, although I did leave aces in because you can equate face cards to like 10, 11, and 12, but it's a little harder to see. You have to like have an understanding that, okay, 10 goes with Jack, 11 goes with Queen, and so on. Whereas the ace actually has one on it, like has one thing on it. So you can kind of decide for yourself with your own kiddo if you want to leave aces in or take them out. On the Uno cards, I took out all of the special cards, the draw twos, wilds, and all that. I am sure that there is a way to adapt these games where you include those cards and make things interesting. And if I think of anything like that, I will definitely make a new video because that sounds entertaining. So the initial idea here is just how do we practice things without having to feel like we as parents are constantly coming up with the problems or downloading worksheets or things like that. How can we make it more fun? Now I'm working on and or have made some apps and put on my website these apps that will generate random questions and show you the answer, and in some cases also provide kind of help and reasoning. And so I'll put a link in the description to my addition one that I've got on my website right now. But I also realized that a lot of the time we don't want that extra screen time. That maybe there's times for being on the screen and using an app like that, and other times where we would rather be playing with cards. So this is how I would approach that. So I'm going to show you what I would do for addition, and then I'll talk about a little farther on how you can use this for other things as well. So basically it's kind of like a war style thing where you turn over two cards, so 6 and 9, and you say, okay, what are those added together? And the strategy that makes the most sense to me when initially adding is to tell the student, okay, which of these two numbers is bigger? Which that's a step that can probably be skipped depending on how easy they can understand which one is bigger. So I'd say, okay, start with 9. We're going to add 6 to the 9. So let's count up from 9, right? So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I've got 6 fingers, so I've added 6 and it gave me 15. Something to that effect is I feel like one of the kind of early on strategies for adding. A more advanced strategy, of course, is to say 9 is almost 10. How far away from 10 is it? It's 1. So it's like we're taking one of these away to put with the 9 to get 10. and then these other 5 are going to become the new ones place. And so that's how we can get 15 that way. And both of those are valid ways to do it. That second way, I think, is infinitely helpful for adding bigger and bigger numbers in your head. The understanding of, when I add 6 and 9, what's going to happen? 1's going to move and make 10, then I have 5 left over, so that gives me 15. What I really like about using the playing cards versus the Uno cards is they do have however many diamonds or clubs or whatever as is the card, so you can actually use the card to count as well. Let's say we start with 9 and then we count 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that kind of reinforces this idea that adding is a fancier kind of counting, basically. So as far as actually making a game out of this, maybe a competitive game, you could do something where you split the deck, in 2, or however many people are playing. And there is always the option that you could each turn over a card, and whoever says the right answer first, gets to keep the cards. So if this side says 8 first, they'd get to take the cards. And it's very much a war, like the card game war style game. I personally don't care for that, because there's kind of 2 scenarios here. Either you are playing an adult and a kid, and so as an adult, you're either having to purposefully let the kid get it sometimes, or you're being mean and winning all the time, or you're not necessarily teaching good sportsmanship by letting them win all the time. So there's kind of a complicated dynamic there. Alternatively, if you have 2 kids that are similar age, similar in math skill, that are doing this, well, then all of a sudden you get some argumentative, no, I got it first, no, I got it first, or that's not the right answer, this is the right answer. So that competitive part can actually be not so helpful. I do think competition, it can be a good tool. I just think that we have lots of unhealthy ways of competing, and I've definitely seen that in my middle schoolers and high schoolers that I've taught, that they've got an unhealthy view of competition. So if you need to make it a competition, I would suggest you do it this way. You split the cards into 2, but each person turns over 2, and each person does their addition, and then they take turns saying their addition. So this is 13 and this is 12, and then whoever has the higher sum, or you could play whoever has the lower sum, gets the cards. And so what's great about this is they're checking each other, right? So that 2 people are looking at the sums and hopefully coming to an agreement. It's lucky. Like, who wins is not about who's better at math. And so I think that's good in most cases, because being second best at math does not mean you're not good at math, but that's how it can make you feel. So this person would get the cards. And of course, if you've got a tie, you could do like in war, where you redo the sums and the winner there would get everything. I think it would work pretty similar with Uno cards, and maybe because of them not having the ability to count from the cards, maybe that means that this is for once they're more advanced, once you're trying to keep them from doing as much counting. The thing that's nice about the Uno cards is that there are more of them. So if I was going to stick with a deck of cards and be playing it, I actually would probably want to play with 2 decks, just so that so it doesn't feel like someone is able to win super quickly, so that the game is a little bit longer. So again, if you want to make this a competition, I would say each person put out 2 cards, do the sum. Here's 13, here's 12. Okay, 13's higher, so put these on this side. That would be my recommendation. Now, the way you can expand this to other math skills past addition is you, of course, could do this with subtraction instead. And you also would want to decide for the Uno cards if you want to leave in 0 or take out 0. 0 at first, I think can trip students up at the very beginning. So it might be something that you just leave out at first. So if we're trying to practice subtraction, we can do the same kind of rules where whoever's got the higher answer gets the card. So 2 minus 0 is 2, 7 minus 2 is 5, and so then this side would get it. You do initially with subtraction until almost middle schoolish, like maybe 6th grade or 7th grade, whenever you learn about negative numbers, you would have to always make sure to either rearrange them so that the bigger one is first, or just have your kid think about them reversed, right? Like, I'm not going to do 5 minus 8 as a 2nd or 3rd grader, or whenever you learn subtraction. I'm going to switch those around and do 8 minus 5. But then whenever I am in 6th grade and talking about positive and negative integers, then maybe we do talk about what is 5 minus 8. The other thing that's really cool, speaking of positive and negative integers, is with playing cards, the fact that you've got 2 colors. So you actually could choose to make the black ones be positive numbers and the red ones be negative numbers, and do that same sort of addition and subtraction game, keeping in mind what those signs are. So this would be like saying -9, if I'm doing addition, -9 plus -1, which is -10. So it's a way to just keep getting new problems for them to try over and over. Multiplication also works, either with positives and negatives or without. So when you're starting the multiplication tables, just saying, okay, what is 10 times 1? It's 10, and just doing it over and over and over again. And division is tricky because so few of these are going to divide evenly. But it could be that you use these to reduce fractions. Maybe you get a pencil or something to put in between here, and then, so this is now a fraction, 6/8, and you ask, okay, can we reduce it? So basically, as you're looking at your students' math homework or at math skills you'd like for them to be better at, anything that uses 2 numbers or even more than 2 numbers, you can find a way to adapt to using cards to create problems. Even I, as a math teacher, get kind of frustrated whenever I'm having to come up with new problems over and over again, even if they're really simple, like addition, because I feel like I just accidentally use the same numbers over and over again, or I very quickly make them harder than they need to be. So this gives you a way to just be really repetitive, but hopefully in a kind of more fun sort of way. So if you would like to leave me a comment and tell me what you think, or if you have any ideas of how to make this game better, please let me know. You can follow me on Instagram at KStevMath, KStevMath, without the extra E. And you can subscribe to the channel. You can go check out my website, where I am now offering tutoring services as well. So if you start trying to play this game with your kiddo and it's not going well, I've got 2 options on my website. If you would like help as a parent, a chance to explain what you feel like is going on, and then have a math professional teacher help you kind of figure out the best way to go about helping your child, that's an option. Or if you just want your kid to get some tutoring, that's an option. You can go to my website, www.KStevMath.com, and find that under the Services tab. And every day I'm adding more and more content to that website, and hopefully before too long I'll have it in a really good place where you can find almost anything you'd like to as far as math practice and math instruction goes. And you watching these videos on YouTube and you going to that website and checking things out is really helpful to making that all possible. So thanks again for watching and for your support, and I'll see you in another video.